For a long time, I thought I had it all figured out. 33, 5 years married to Sarah, living in this picture-perfect house in Reston, Virginia. It had the 2-car garage, a finished basement, the whole suburban package that screams, you've made it. But honestly, it felt less like a dream and more like clocking into a job I couldn't stand, just counting the hours until the shift ended. My job, logistics management, was intense. 50-hour weeks, supply chains, vendor negotiations, the kind of work that doesn't just switch off when you walk out the office door. Sarah, she was a project manager, pulling in about $78,000 a year. I made a good bit more, around $125,000. And I did everything else. Every single weekend, I was out in the yard, maintaining both our cars, cooking most of our dinners. I managed our investments, handled the furnace filters, the gutters, bleeding the radiators, all that invisible stuff that keeps a home running smoothly. It's the kind of work nobody notices until it suddenly stops. Sarah's contribution, lately, had mostly been a rising tide of complaints and these new, jargon-y phrases she picked up from somewhere. It really started about 8 months back. Her cousin, Brenda, began hosting these weekly gatherings. Brenda was one of those people who, at 28, discovered social justice and then made it everyone else's entire problem. Never held a job longer than 6 months, but had these incredibly strong opinions about how everyone else should live. Sarah would come home from Brenda's place, armed with new vocabulary, mental load, emotional labor, patriarchal expectations. And suddenly, everything I did was either insufficient, problematic, or somehow, oppressively male. Our intimate life, which used to be pretty regular, twice a week, dwindled to twice a month, then to essentially nothing. And her rejections weren't gentle. They came with this irritated sigh, like I was inconveniencing her by even bringing it up. Then, one day, I noticed she'd stopped wearing her wedding ring. Said it needed cleaning. 2 months later, it was still sitting in a jewelry box in her dresser. Not at a jeweler, not being fixed, just abandoned there, like it meant nothing at all. The small disrespects started piling up. She'd scroll through her phone while I was talking, ask me to repeat myself without looking up. Her eyes would roll when I mentioned anything about my day. But then I'd catch her smiling at her screen, that specific smile, the one she used to give me when she was texting someone else. About 3 months ago, I decided to throw a barbecue. Woke up at 5 a.m. to prep a brisket, got the smoker going, made everything from scratch. Hours of work. And I overheard Sarah and Brenda in the kitchen, laughing about how marriage was a trap, how men just get comfortable and stop trying once they lock you down. I was standing outside the window, holding a platter of meat I'd been working on for 6 hours. And that moment, it just crystallized everything. This wasn't going to get better. It was accelerating downhill. A few weeks after that barbecue, the breaking point arrived. It was an unremarkable evening. I mentioned maybe looking at a new vehicle, something like a 4Runner, practical for camping trips and potentially a family down the road. And she launched into it. This whole prepared speech, like she'd been don't miss the twist bottom left, full story.